Hello and welcome back to the fish locker out on the boat. It's a fantastic day. Massive tides though. Usually on big tides like this I would lure fish, but what we're going to do is we're going to try and target wrasse. I love catching wrasse, no two the same, and they fight really well. I'm hopefully going to show you how with a bit of targeted fishing you can find some stunning fish. Got quite a lot of wrasse species around here, so we'll see how many we can find today. Going to also see if we can pick up a few live baits and we'll see what they can find. So wrasse and anything else that we can find. The first wrasse I'm going to target is a cork-wing wrasse. Now you'll probably notice I'm tied up alongside of a pier. Yeah, but you don't need a boat for that. Cork-wing wrasse like structure. They're only a small wrasse, and they like the sides of piers or jetties or like sea defences, sea walls. They're the type of one that you can catch when you're fishing from the shore, like fishing on a rock mark. If you fish right below your feet, you'll catch them. And all I'm using is some little tiny size 10 hooks, just on a 2 hook pattern still, look, just a 1 ounce lead, and a tiniest little scrap of ragworm. Now you will also pick up the likes of gobies and blennies doing this, which is good. It's what I want. I'm going to use some of them as live baits. This is one of those things that you really should teach more when they're teaching people about seamanship. The wash that they make, like that plonker there, has steamed right through, even though it's going faster than harbour speed, and this is the problem that it causes. People just don't think. Anyway, won't let it spoil our day. And all I'm going to do is fish right down the side of the wall to the bottom. Now the types of bites you get, they're like a hard rattling bite, and they usually come quite quick. A good rig for this, I'm going to switch to in a second, is a 1 up, 1 down. So you have 1 bait suspended off the bottom and you have 1 tight on the bottom. And generally the 1 tight on the bottom is the one that will... The one that's tight on the bottom is the one that will get the gobies. The one that's just off the bottom is the one that will get the cork-wing wrasse. Missed it. Now you will catch Ballan Wrasse doing this as well, but they will generally just be tiny ones. You'll probably be able to see where I am now. All I've done is I've come out to a piece of reef. Now there's nothing in particular about this reef. It's just snaggy, and wrasse like it snaggy. Now the little bit of pier that I was up alongside earlier to try and get them cork-wing wrasse, there's just too many people around, just too many people steaming up and down at full speed and just banging up and down the side of the pier, so I'll try and go back there later on. The wrasse that I'm targeting out here are cuckoo wrasse and Ballan Wrasse. Now Ballan Wrasse you'll catch them anywhere, you'll catch them right inshore or you'll catch them offshore. But cuckoo wrasse you only really catch them in deep water. You can catch them off the rocks, but it's not as common as Ballan Wrasse. And all I'm doing is I'm just fishing with ragworm on a 2 hook pattern. On that one at the back there, I found a live prawn when I was tying the boat, when I was coming off the mooring this morning. Just missed a bite there. They're always real good bites, wrasse. And I've put a live prawn out on the back there on a circle hook. There's a wrasse. Now these are tiny hooks on here. I'm expecting Ballan. Oh no, It's a lovely female cuckoo wrasse. Just keep an eye on that rod in the background, will you? A lovely looking female cuckoo wrasse, I'm sure you'll agree. If you find the male, you'll see the difference straight away. Females are more of like an orangey peachy colour, and they have these 3 black bands on their tail. But nonetheless, stunning. It's a trick with these little hooks. If you can turn them inside the mouth, generally alright, look. There you go. If you take your time when you're bringing these wrasse in, they do go back. But if you wind them in too fast, their swim bladders blow and they usually die. So if you're fishing for wrasse like this, take your time bringing them in. Now, you don't usually have to wait very long. Like I'm literally just dropped this down here, and the bites you get are almost, like I say, instantaneous. Now the area I'm fishing over has got quite a bit of kelp in it, which is where all the fish live. So you have to be really on the ball when you're fishing, feeling for shapes and that on the bottom. All I usually use, if I can get away with it, like I say, is a spinning rod and a light braid. The rig is just as simple as you can make it. It's just a 1 hook or a 2 hook paternoster. The positives and negatives: 2 hook paternoster, you've got twice as much chance of catching a fish, but you've also got twice as much chance of catching a snag. And when you're drifting, I mean at the moment I'm drifting quite quick, drifting at nearly a knot. It's a bit fast. Of course I'm only fishing with a very light lead. This is only, I think this is only a 2-ounce lead, and I'm in 50 feet of water. It's not long before the lead's a long way away. The more of an angle you've got like that, the more chance you've got of getting snagged. You want to be fishing as vertically as possible. I'm getting a lot of missed bites on these little tiny hooks. I'm going to move them. I'm going to change up to bigger hooks. And here is one I made earlier. It's a very simple twisted boom blood knot with a 1/0 chino, and it's a 2 hook paternoster. The wind isn't helping us here, it's pushing us along with the tide. All I'm doing to bait these is I'm just using a ragworm. Just get hold of it by the head like that, and just take the hook and thread it up the hook, and then pass the head end up past the eye of the hook like that. The reason you pass the head end up past the eye is because if you don't and a fish gets hold of it, it'll just pull the worm straight off the hook. There you go. I have also got in a bucket some small hardback crabs, like the size of a 20p piece. Now I have found in the past that they generally pick out the better wrasse, they pick out the better Ballan wrasse. So what I am going to do in a minute is I'm going to try and put the anchor down just in the corner of this piece of reef here, and I'm going to fish with some hardback crabs. See what we can find. Now I was hoping to catch some gobies and some blennies when we're inshore alongside that pier. Stick them down as a live bait, but couldn't get any, so you have to make them. With any luck we'll come across a shoal of sand eels or something, and we'll be able to get a couple of live baits for some Pollack. Now look, all I've done is I've baited it up like that. Looped it on. See if we can't turn it into a fish. You need your drag set pretty tight, because a big Ballan wrasse, it will turn and it will get you straight in a snag. So as soon as you know you've got it hooked, you need to get it up 5 feet. Once you've got it up away from the rocks, take your time with it, bring it up to the surface. Yeah, this one was definitely a Ballan wrasse. I'm just going to drop those feathers a little bit lower. I've got some sabikis here to try and find a live bait. And there have been a few little patches that have gone past the sounder, but not picking anything up. Yeah, I knew this was a Ballan straight away. It was a big hit. There we are. A lovely golden, spiky, crazy Ballan Wrasse. Calm down. There you go. Lovely, aren't they? Just had a hit on the feathers then. I think it's probably a cuckoo wrasse having a go at them. Wrasse are very territorial. So sometimes you'll find they aren't even attacking a bait to eat it. They're just attacking it to get it out of their territory. It's great fun fishing with soft plastic lures for wrasse like this. The only problem is they never last very long. I'll show you the teeth on the next wrasse that I bring up. And they just destroy plastic lures. You do get other wrasse living around these areas in these reefs. Small ones, rock cook wrasse, gold cinny wrasse. Now you don't generally catch them on the drift like this because they're usually only that big. But they do live in amongst the kelp. And I do plan on putting the anchor down in a minute, just up here on this little piece of reef that we're drifting over now. I will put the anchor down and we'll see if we can get some of them out because they are lovely looking. Oh, there's a good one. See how you take your time with them? That way the swim bladders don't blow and you can release them. It's a very pretty one. Look at the colours on that. Stunning, aren't they? Look, if you see the teeth in there. You can see why they make short work of plastic lures, can't you? This is good fun fishing for wrasse. Like I said, you could see there, it give a real strong bite and they fight real well. You get like a 4 or 5 pounder and you really do know you've hooked into something. Currently in 44 feet. You'll notice that I keep looking at the sounder. Ooh. And the reason I kept looking at the sounder was to make sure that there was no real sharp peaks coming up. Because my lines are maybe 15 feet off the side of the boat. We're drifting that way. So it gave me a little bit of warning that a big snag was coming up. There you go. Another one completely different. This one's all brown. That one's okay to send straight back. You might be able to see on the rod tip every now and again there's like a bump, but it's like a sluggish thud. And that's the weight moving through the kelp. You'll see a fish bite. It'll be like a real sharp rap. I'm really hoping to pick up a sandale with that. Sandale or a little mackerel would be perfect. Perfect. This is just what I was after. This is the male cuckoo wrasse. And aren't they absolutely stunning? Look at the colours on it. They're absolutely beautiful, aren't they? No mistaking them, is there? There's nothing that looks quite like them. See, the females that we caught earlier on were like a peachy orange, and this one is a lovely bright blue and orange. There just must be stacks of them. This is like the 5th one I've had, just on this one spot. None of them massive. I mean, this one's probably £2. You see there, these chino hooks work perfectly. I've got some little tiny crabs, look. Try using a crab on the top and a worm on the bottom and see which one picks the fish up. The tide's really pushing through now. I've just seen a barrel jellyfish go past at about 2 knots. So I think all the little tiny wrasse, all the gold cinnies and all the rock hooks are busy hiding away somewhere. So I might go for like a drift over the reef with some lures until the tide dies down, and then I'll come back and have another crack at them. There's another nice looking one. Why do they always do that? They always wait until you just gonna look. See the chino right in the corner of its mouth. That fella's drifted past me about 10 times. Every single time, getting closer and closer. Moved to a different piece of reef, but I'm just using the same rig. Counted for another cracking ballan. There you go. Straight back down. Nothing complicated at all. All I'm doing is I picked a drift along a piece of reef. It was that easy. There you are. Put on a nice big piece of ragworm, because I know there's some absolute bruisers around here. I've had them in this spot to near £5, and I know there's bigger around. I could see we'd just come up a rise then. Stunning colours on them, aren't they? Look at that tail. And no two the same, is there? These chinos are great. A smaller, softer hook would have bent out by now. See, all I'm getting is just like a sharp wrap, and unless it goes straight over, now you get one, there's one. Let it get a second bite of the cherry and then set the hook into it. Hopefully I'll get some sand eel in these on that on them sabikis, because it'll be great for pollock and bass in here. You can probably see how turbulent it is. That's the disturbance caused by how up and down it is under the water. I'm just trying to run a drift just over the backside of all these peaks. I've got a live sand eel on. and we're hoping for the likes of a pollock or a bass. We've just picked up a scad, which is also called a horse mackerel on the sabikis, which was good because I was getting wound up with them. I was ready to throw them over the side. One thing that scad are really good for is live baits. It's a little bit big, but a bass will still take it. Sandale's found something. A nice pollock. Very nearly lost it. I had a couple of little bumps. As you can see, there's the live sandale. I just popped out. It was a Cox and Roll 6-0 chino. There's a nice pollock. Higher be. £6, something like that. Cracking sport on them light rods. Going back. Straight back down, no messing. I think we'll go around and have that drift again. I'll really quickly show you the rig. There we are. I'll really quickly show you the rig that I was using. All I've got is a little bullet lead locked into a little piece, and I've got, when I'm not tangled up, when I'm not all tangled up in myself, I've got around about, let's say, 6 foot of fluorocarbon, ending in a 6-0 Cox and Roll chino with a live launch on. I'll get dropped down, otherwise I'll miss the drop off. And literally all I've got is I've just got a spinning reel with, I think this is £25 braid on. This is actually the first time I've used this rod. It's a 6 to 12 pound class rod. All I'm doing is I'm just dropping down until I can feel the bottom, and then giving it 4 or 5 quick winds to make sure that I'm up off the bottom. And all I'm waiting for is it'll usually give like a couple of little bats, or it'll start vibrating, and what that is, it's the launch panicking because there's a predator fish around. And all that's happening is as I'm drifting that way over all these peaks, there are fish usually hiding on the back of them. Currently in 90 feet of water. But 40 yards over there it was 40 feet of water. Oh, there's a bite. Missed it. Might have even had my launch away. We're now in 42 feet of water. The bottom really is like that. Finished with the reef. We'll go back and have another drift. Oh no. Something's had a go at it. Go back and try that again. Another cracking pollock. There we go, just the same as before. Live sandale. There you go. Beauties, aren't they? Now was the hook. Trying to reuse this sandale because I haven't got any more left. I only managed to feather up 3. You see, all it is, it's just usually just like one hit or a little one like that. And all I do is just slowly drop it as if like the fish has been wounded and it's sinking in the water. Lower it, and if you feel another bite, lift and stick. Don't strike. Don't strike hard because you can pull the hook out of its mouth. You just lift into the fish. We're just coming over a little bump now. So as we get to the other side of it, if we're going to get a fish, that's where I expect to get it. The water's that confused, we just keep going round and round in circles, we aren't really going anywhere. There's another one. Prime fighting fit. Right, sometimes if the hook's deep, what you do is you go in through the bottom of the gill. That way you can change the angle on the hook. And look, poke the hook out like that. And just pull your forceps out. There it is. That's about it. Two for two. Okay, there's another one that swallowed it down deep. So like I was saying, if you're going through the gill like that, you can, if you're careful, you can change the angle of the hook. Stop it. And you just push the hook out like that. Then you just carefully pull the forceps out. There you go. There you go. Yeah, cracking sport. Right. We'll have to try this one again. This one's already had 3 pollock on this. They are much better when they're alive, but they don't need to be to catch fish. Now all I'm doing is I'm just lowering right down to the bottom. Now you have to be paying attention. There's the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because you need to get it up off the bottom straight away. And all I was doing was I just had them sat just off the bottom. And as it is, this peak that I'm sat on, amazingly I seem to be sat in the middle of an eddy and I'm not going anywhere. So the fish must be coming round this peak and seeing my sandale sat on top of it. The one thing that you need to be absolutely certain of when you're fishing like this is that you have your drag set right. Because when them pollock take a crashing dive like that with the tide with them as well, if your drag's too tight, it'll just pop the hook off. It'll either slip it out or it'll snap it off. The racing rig has managed to find another lovely male cuckoo wrasse. Some amazing colours on them, haven't they? That was all it was. Just a 1/0 chinook with some ragworm. No way. The tide is easing off a bit now. We might go and try and find them smaller wrasse species. We'll stick it out here for another 15 minutes and then we'll go and see what else we can find. Oh, thought I had a big one, and instead I've just got a husband and wife pair. No better way to show you the differences between the males and the females. There's the male, there's the female. Lovely looking fish, aren't they? Leave the forceps on her. Look will come out of him though. How's that? Beautiful, isn't he? See what unlooking your missus. Can't believe she managed to swallow that big hook. He didn't even know he was hooked then. He knows now. I just saw the tiniest little tremor and I thought, that's a fish that. It's got hold of it. And he... Oh. That's the beauty of this shallow water pollacking. It's not like when you fish on a wreck and they blow halfway up and they're just dragging a weight up. They fight all the way. Oh, this one's a nice one as well. Oh, it is a nice pollock. Because we're fishing in shallow water, they fight all the way up and all the way down and all the way up and all the way down again. Oh. Well, that launch there has had 4 pollock now. He's a bit well and truly smashed though. What a beautiful fish. Don't know if he's going to be the biggest, but I'll tell you what, he might be the biggest for today. Again, look, I don't know if you can see that hook in there. If you can see where they've swallowed it down deep, if you go in through the gill carefully and get hold of the hook, you can turn it. Turn it and push the hook out, look. And all you do is just pull your forceps out. There's the hook out. Another cracking fish. He looks like he's been in the nets, you see. Let's let him go. That's another beauty about fishing shallow. If you're fishing in 300 feet of water or something like that and they blow halfway up, that one there fought all the way to the surface and all the way down and up and down. They depressurise so you can let them go straight away. Right, and that was all the trace was. Like I say, it was probably 6 feet of this is, I think this is 25 pound fluoro. It might be 20 or it might be 25, but it's high seas fluoro, which is, I think it's from American Fishing Wire. But fluoro makes a big difference. I didn't used to think too much about it, I just used to use mono, but fluoro definitely does make a difference. I don't know if I can use this guy again, I'll give him a go. We'll see. We'll try. Like I say, 6 foot of fluoro and then just, it's a little 2 ounce lead locked in. Well, we've had some great fun. I don't know if you get to see, but there's a boat now about 30 feet away. I said I was going to move, didn't I? I'll drop to the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, this is a very pretty one. Why do they always do that? Just wait until you're posing for a picture or something like that. Now, that's when they choose to go mad. There he is. This one's got a very attractive green on his tail. I don't know if you can see that. More of a camouflaged one. There we go. I've come right inshore. I'm literally, God, 30 feet away from the rocks. Because this is where I'm hoping to get my gold cine, my rock cook. Using my very light scratching ones. Tiny hooks, tiny bits of bait. Apart from on that one I've got a whole scad. I'm dragging it along the bottom because I always live in the hope that there might be a John Dory somewhere. We only need to catch one. Well, I had intended on trying up inshore, and then I was just on my way to another mark to anchor up to see if we'd find those smaller wrasse. And no matter how much maintenance you do, no matter how prepared you are, there will always be a way that something will catch you out. Now, the steering cable has just snapped. So if you can see the engine at the back there, when I turn the wheel, look, see, nothing happens. That's not the end of the world. If this ever does happen to you, the best thing you can do is, you know, like I was just inshore, wasn't I? All I did was I just tied it up straight and just motored myself off a little bit. Now I'm roughly 3/4 of a mile off now, so I've got enough time to mess around. If you are in a dodgy situation, the best thing you can do is chuck your anchor straight over the side. Now I've got an anchor set up in there, and I'm only in 60 feet of water, and you can see I'm in no real danger. All you would do is you just throw the anchor over the side and you just call the Coast Guard, or even call another passing vessel. Because this isn't an emergency, I don't feel it's necessary. I mean, I'm in no real danger. There's not a storm coming. I'm not going to end up on the rocks. I've not got anyone on board that's injured. Now, even though I've got no steering, that doesn't mean that I can't get in. All I'm going to do is, as you've seen, your engine, if you can sit it midships and tie it off to some cleats like that, you can do one of two things. Now, that, as its centre, will make the boat go straight. Your boat will always pull one way or the other. I mean, I know mine lays to the right, mine lays to starboard. What you could do is you could take something like this and hold it down on the side, causing more drag on whichever way you want to turn. So if I wanted to turn to port, I'd put it over the port side and hold it. And the extra water pressure, that extra surface area there, and the water hitting it, it means that you would turn. Or, what you could do is, like I'm going to do here, once these are tied off, just pull slightly on the ropes, and it just gives that little bit. I'm not, it spoiled my day, but I'm not overly worried. I don't feel like I need to call the lifeboat or Coast Guard. If you are worried or anything like that and you come into this type of situation, that's why it's always useful to have a VHF. I've got a little handheld VHF in case anything goes wrong. You've also got your mobile phone when you're tight inside. Best thing to do not panic. It's not the end of the world. I'm not sinking, there's nobody overboard, there's nobody injured. All that's happened is the steering's gone. Hopefully this will have a happy ending, but we'll see how it goes. Catch you later.